Hey guys, welcome to another ride in the struggle bus where every wheel is an empty triangle. We have another bus ride for you today where we'll be looking at the basics and the beyond the basic rules. And for this game, we're going to be hyper focusing on playing the fun game of is this Sente? So we're really going to be looking at our opponent's moves and asking the question, is this Sente? Do we need to respond to this move or can we go play the biggest move on the board? And it's tough to do that, right? But if you get in the habit of doing that, of really scrutinizing your opponent's moves and going, do I actually need to respond to this or can I go play that big move that I want to play? It can really get you ahead, and you're going to see that in this game. Anyway, we're playing against a 12K on OGS. The other thing that I'm going to start doing is I want to bring this back, back to what the intent of these videos were, and I want to start playing against more double digit Q players. When I post these games on OGS, I set the rank as to, I set a range for what the ranks can be, and I had been setting it from I think 9K to 13K. But we kept on getting 9 and 10K opponents, and again, the intent of this is to help our double GQ friends, and so I've shifted that range. I think today I set it from 11K to 15K. We'll leave it at that for a few videos, I think, to get our double GQ games, and so that is what we have today. Anyway, as per always, I'd like to thank our opponent for playing us today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. So after that long introduction, let's get into this game. Okay, and here we go. We are white against a 12K on OGS. We'll see how well our friend does with the basics. We will also be applying the beyond the basics. Again, we'll be doing that from here on out. In this game in particular, we'll be asking the question of, is this Sente? When our opponent makes moves. Okay, so we've got some Sanrensei action. We will just go and approach the outside of one of the stones and see how they respond to this. Okay, we are getting pincered. In this situation, I'm just going to jump into the 3-3. We can look at jumping out. We can look at jumping into 3-3. Those are the two variations. This is the easier of the two. And we'll see which way they block. So, okay, they block this way, we extend. Hopefully they do not Hane right here. Good. Glad to see that they did not do that. It's a very common mistake. So we will go back. We will play here, which threatens to connect to this stone. We will connect, which still threatens to take this cut. And now we can jump. And so this is a little atypical for how Sanrensei players play. Typically when you play this way, you're looking to get the side that you're playing the 3 stones on. Looks like they are just looking to convert this into influence, which is probably fine enough. It's just not something that I typically see with this. So let's see where our opponent plays now. Oh, and I skipped ahead when our friend played here. I didn't ask, is this Sente? Well, you saw I responded to it, so it's Sente. So now the question is this Sente? And I think the answer to that is no. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go play 3-3 here. We'll mix it up a little bit. See which way our friend wants to block. So they are blocking this way. We will extend. We should all know these variations by now. Our friend Hanes, so we will Hane as well. Let's see if we get the double Hane. Nope. So they push, we will push. They will push again. We will push again. They will push one more time, hopefully. And then we can Tanuki. This can be okay as long as black plays away right now. But I suspect black will protect with Q2. And in this situation, we shouldn't be doing that because this Hane at the head of 3 is here, and it's so painful to have to endure the Hane at the head of 3. So we are going to go take that. And remember, one of the strengths of Hane at the head of 3 is that we get to double Hane. So we will double Hane now because it leaves this Atari, which will threaten to kill these 3 stones. So, okay, so we get an Atari this way. We're obviously going to connect, and then curious to see what way black goes with this now. So here, we have a decision to make. We have a choice. And so that choice is we can Atari this stone and kill these 3 stones. But that gives black the capture here. Or we can extend and further develop our right side while black gets to develop this. So I guess this is probably your question for the game already. Came this early. What would you guys do here? Would you extend or would you Atari this and capture these 3 juicy stones? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to extend because the onus is on black to fix this cut. And this is still getting us some very great potential over here. So now we are here. And so the question is, was this move Sente? This move is not Sente. We get to play away. We still have 2 corners that we have not quite yet developed. And we know from our rules that we care about the corners. So I'm going to extend off the 3-4 stone. And I've been liking this 2-point extension. But you could have played O17, P17, P16. Those are all perfectly playable. Extending off of this corner, also playable. So here we're being approached. I am going to respond to this. We'll see what black does. And so here we can ask the question of, is this Sente? And it really isn't, but we're going to respond to it in this case. In this basic series, I have been responding to these moves. In my own games, I typically snooky away from here because this is not Sente, but we will respond. I suspect black will come back and play J17, and that is fine. And so now we have a pretty open board. We know that this move isn't Sente, so we want to be looking for the biggest move on this board. And black is looking to get a lot, has a lot of potential down here. And, we've got some pretty good potential here, but I think black has more potential. So I think we should go look at reducing this. And we have a lot of options for that. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this little peep. It's a fun little peep. We're going to play this. Threatens to go in here and Atari and cut this stone off. So black needs to do something about that. So we'll play this just to kind of get a free stone. Might help in some kind of fight that happens here. Who knows? So for here, we want to reduce the potential here. I think it'd be a little foolish to jump in. I think that'd be asking for a little too much. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to shoulder hit this stone. I'm just going to play diagonally here, which should force black to just go and get their points. And so black responds here. So we're going to ask the question, is this move Sente? What happens if we don't respond to this move? Is there a follow-up where black really punishes us? I don't see it. So here, I think we can follow through on our threat. We can push or we can cover. I think pushing down comes with a, from a reduction standpoint, comes with more teeth. Because if we were comfortable with this stone, then we should be comfortable with these 2. So now we'll go and we'll get to play this. So we get to play this as well. This comes with the threat of the Atari here, and so the Atari here. And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out. It's important to not get too greedy with our invasions and reductions. We could have looked into jumping into here, but now if black plays a move like this, and we get surrounded, we potentially lose a lot. So here, this is a successful invasion. Black finds some good timing to go Tanuki, and so the question I'm going to ask is this Sente? And this is Sente. There are a lot of really strong follow-ups to this against this shape, so we are going to respond to this. I am just going to kick, and we'll see black responds. And so now, do we feel like even this is Sente? And there's still a lot of weaknesses here, but I still think that these are probably the most important stones on the board. So I think it's worth strengthening them. So what are we going to do here? We could look at going further in. We can look at coming out this way. We can look at jumping out this way. Let's just play a nice little shape move here get very, very strong here. This is the large table shape. And so now these stones are going to be much tougher to attack. Okay, and so black looks to peep. That is fine. We will play this tiger's mouth, which will connect here. If black pushes through, we get to block. If black plays here, we get to connect. So this connects up again. This shape here, very, very, very difficult to attack. Worth noting, there's a cut here. We can push and then cut this stone. And so that is something that black potentially needs to be careful about. And so black does come back and protects this stone. And so I like that. I think that's fine. This group is now quite strong. I am fully confident, you guys should be too, if you have a group like this, that it's not going to get in trouble. So let's go pressures over here a little bit. Let's go play. I don't want to play too close to this strength, right? We want to make sure we're playing away from strength. So let's just go play here, which will pressure this a little bit, right? There's still some Aji with the C6 stone. It could potentially do something. So we're just, now that we've got some strength on this side, get some strength on this side, and we'll see if we can do something with this. I suspect black will jump out to somewhere like E8 here. Yep, E9, and that is a perfectly respectable move, and that limits a lot of what we can do here. So, important question, guys: is this Sente? I don't think this move's Sente, so I don't think we need to respond to it. So I think we should just look for the biggest move on this board and play it. In this case, I think over here is starting to become quite large. So let's just go and play a move like this. Nice fourth line move. We have a third line stone here and some fourth line stones here. So this does a fine job of balancing. Then black looks to play here. And that's a move I'm happy to respond to. So is this Sente? I'm not even sure if this is 100% Sente because this stone isn't that important. But we do have a cut. And I'm very happy to fix this weakness because now it's going to be much tougher to do anything in this corner. So, and then Black Hane is here. Do we need to respond to this move? I think so. When we played Q13, this was us saying that we are interested in, this territory. And so to be consistent with this stone, we should be responding here, blocking this. And so now black extends. And because we have this cut here, and there's a cut here, and there's some cuts here, I am going to respond to this. I will just extend and see what black does. Again, had to do this just because there were so many cuts. And we do need to make sure that we assess our cuts and protect them if they are needed to be protected. And so that is what we did. And so now black jumps out. These cuts are okay. But now this group is starting to get completely surrounded. And again, this group is not in trouble, but we do have to respect that it's getting fully surrounded. So we are going to play some moves to make sure that it gets nice and strong. So all I'm looking to do now is make sure that this group lives. So we're playing moves that get us some good eye shape, move us into empty areas of the board. Because I haven't counted, but we should be well ahead here. This right side is very, very, very large. And then we've got a pretty large corner here and a pretty large side. So I think we have more points than black does on this board. So black plays here, threatens this stone, but this stone, not important. This is not an important stone. So we're just going to play a bigger move. And so this certainly isn't Sente because we don't care about this stone. So we're just going to play here. And if black wants to go capture that stone, that is perfectly fine. But I suspect black is going to play something like F7. Nope, black looks to push through. That's fine. We will obviously... This is obviously Sente. We will be blocking this. Okay, so now black comes back to block our reduction here. And so is this Sente? Absolutely not. So now we want to find the biggest move on the board and play it. So our group, I think, is just getting more and more alive as the moves go on. So I think this area, probably the biggest. This move, quite large. This is a common follow-up to this Joseki. Whoever gets this move, it's not something we would play early in the game. but it's a move that both players are very, very interested in. So if you're unaware of that, once this Joseki happens, this is a move that people tends to be interested in. We are being attached to. We are going to respond to this. It's important to respond when our stones get attached to. So the question is, are we going to extend or are we going to Hane? I'm going to Hane here. And then we will probably look to connect regardless of where black plays, unless black cuts, which black did. So now we have a cross cut, and so we want to identify what our weakest stone is. I think this is our weakest stone. And so we need to play a move to strengthen that and to weaken black's weakest stone, which is this one here. So we're going to extend here. Remember, we do not want to Atari the cutting stone, so we don't want to Atari either of these stones quite yet. And the same is true for black. Black does not want to Atari this stone. Black should probably play f13, but black did Atari the stone. So we will extend, which gets us more liberties, and black now has a cut here that they need to fix. I'll gladly take this Atari, and here I'm wondering if I should Atari or if I should just play here. I think I'm just going to play here to look to connect up with this. It threatens to kill this stone, right? If we play G16, this will capture the stone. So okay, and so black goes here. Well, I'm gonna follow through on my threat. You know, I am going to capture the stone. That was the intent of this move. And then black plays here. That doesn't change anything here. We can still capture this. So let's come back to this group, make sure that it is okay. So let's go play this to see if we can connect up, because now these stones are connected to this living group. So if we connect up, then by virtue of connecting, we are alive again. This group was never in trouble, but it's important to make sure it is actually 100% alive. Okay, so black looks to cut. We will connect because we're looking to connect up. So this is a sensei move because black could have played here, and while we still would have been able to capture G15, we would have been cut off. And so now black goes to play up here. And so you guys know the question. Is this sensei? The answer is no. Looking at this board, it's a very dangerous cut here for black. Black has a large knight's move. We could play f10 and then e11 to fully cut these stones off. We're not going to do it. We don't need to play that firmly here, but there is a cut here, and it is important to make sure that we look at both our cuts and our opponent's cuts. I'm just going to play here to further reduce this area. And it's actually getting to the point where this is going to turn into very, very few points for black. Okay, we will go and play here to stay connected. Okay, so black goes after this stone, but I don't think that one was too important. We've got a pretty big follow-up here, and so we will take it. Black probably needs to descend to N2, which is a little unfortunate. And at this point, honestly, we're almost already in endgame. There really isn't too much left on this board. So for big endgame moves, we have C18. That's a very large one. It's not Sente. Black does not need to respond to it, but if they don't, then they end up losing the D18 stone. We also have H2, which is a big move for black. It's Sente for black. It's reverse Sente for us, so it's big enough to play, I think. Okay, so black looks to push through. That's fine. We will block, and black plays here, which threatens to kill this stone. So we will play here. And so yeah, we're pretty much fully in endgame. So black threatens to capture this stone. We will protect this. Other large endgame moves, we've got B9. Black plays this peep. It is absolutely sensei. We will go and connect here. And black looks to cut. So it's getting pretty spicy here, but we can Atari and go and follow this stone down. So I think this stone will get captured if black cuts, so we're still connected. I suspect that is what black is reading right now. So I suspect black will descend. Black did. Good move, black. And so now we will go and connect to make sure that we can stay connected. Okay. We will absolutely respond to this. And black Hanes. Black is looking to cut us, as black should. Black should be looking to cut us. But it's not going to work for our friend. Yep, this is a pretty easy response. We'll do this. We'll Atari this stone. And then we will make sure that we are connected. We'll play this hanging connection, which has some pros and cons, right? If black plays here, we need to respond to it. So black peeps is a Sente. Absolutely, we need to make sure we stay connected. And black plays here, which threatens to cut this, right? These stones aren't connected yet. And so we have to protect this cut. We can connect solidly, or we can play this tiger's mouth. Going to play this tiger's mouth. I'd rather take the liberty away from this group. And then black plays here. I'm just going to play here, which threatens to eat these 5 stones if we get this. So black will need to respond. This is Sente. And then we can push one more time, because that is still Sente. And now we will go and take b9, because this is probably one of the bigger endgame moves on this board. We will extend, because we don't want to lose the stone. And then m18. m18 looks quite large, and so I will take that. Hane. We will connect, because we do not want to lose this stone. And I just missed, I just realized J16. J16, really big move. Really, really big move. Because we can play that and then extend here. So I think black needs to play something around there. Yep, that's Sente, right? Because we'll lose our stones if we don't connect. So we will connect that peep. Lots of peeps this game. Okay. And yeah, that gets some more points here for black. I'm not going to take this move. Again, I don't want to play too firmly here. We're solidly ahead. Taking this Atari then pushing is just it's a bit much. It's a lot on this board. So I'll just play here. Threatens to kill this stone. And then black goes and takes this. We will keep it real simple and connect, though I'm not sure we actually needed to, but that is what we did. Okay. Next, we want to make sure we close the door here, so we'll just go and bump this guy, and then we will block here. There is an Atari. There's a cut, but it doesn't matter, because when we descend, we'll Atari this stone, so everything is nice and alive. So at this point, there are some more endgame moves left. We've got L19, J1, A9, A8, but the game pretty much is over at this point. So I am actually going to jump ahead to the end of this game, this one, so that we can get into the review and get into the good stuff. So I will see you guys at the end of the game. Okay, so here we are at the end of this game, and I think I got a little nervous, and I'd taken some time off from these games, and then the last one, the first one I play coming back, it was a very, very, it was a nail biter, so I think I was a little too cautious with this one, probably played a little too firmly, but that's okay, we'll get back into the groove of this. But anyway, let's take a look at the review of this game to see where our friend could have played better. Okay, so here we are in the review, and our friend opened with something that I'm sure many of you play against frequently, and if you're anything like me, or a lot of the people who I help out, you hate this opening, you hate playing against it, because it's just, what do you do with it? Well, I'll tell you what you do with it. Typically, I just approach from the outside. And normally I would expect to get kicked here in something like this. But honestly, like this is okay because we can still play c3 later. It is fine. But black pincer, this is weird. I normally don't see this, and I would have expected black to block this way, right? And maybe get this variation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one, but this would be a little more consistent with what Sanren-sei is looking to do. So letting me get the corner, a large corner in this way is surprising from this opening. Here, black should probably Tanuki here. Playing this isn't too bad. The thing is, later in the game, there's some Aji with a move like this because of the e2 play, right? And so white really can't ignore this, right? If white goes and ignores, black can play here and then connect up, right? So there's that Aji there. Once black plays this, the Aji's gone, right? It forces white to get a little stronger, and I think white gets more out of this exchange, especially on this board, than black does. So I think black could have played away there. And so then black pushes again, and this unfortunately isn't Sente, right? And that was the theme going into this one is this Sente, and this isn't. There's no follow-up that really punishes us here. So we were able to play away. Right? And that's what a lot of this is about, is finding, that's why is this Sente is one of the rules that I added at the end there, because it's so important. If you can find the timing to play all the Tanukis and get all the big points, then you can get ahead. So black blocks here, seems perfectly fine. All this is fine. Here, black should extend one more time. Again, because the Hane at the head of 3 is just, it's too painful. If we look at the end of the game and see how much white got here, it's all because we were able to get this Hane. I mean, obviously more went into it than that, but look at how much white got here, as where if black had extended one more time, yes, white gets to take Sente here, but white is just pushed down to the second line, and that's it. There's no growing for white. This is it. Like, white just gets those 8 points, and that's pretty much it. But when black plays here and lets us get this Hane, it's too much. Now all of a sudden we're getting fourth line territory. And again, I mentioned we could have looked at playing this, but I don't like giving the Panuki. But it does really break up what black's got going on here. But black will just take Sente. Black could also make this one exchange and then go take Sente. This looks a lot better for black than just extending here. So that's why we extended, forces black to connect up. I would just solidly connect here. There's no reason to give white this peep later in the game. I know these connections, they look fancy, right, because it protects both cuts, but this isn't a cut. It's not going to work because we've got this ladder or net, however black wants to capture it. It's an easy capture. So I think the solid connection was a little better. Okay, so here we were able to get Sente again, and we went and took this big move, and black played here. Perfectly fine move. This is all fine for black. And then this, unfortunately, was another miss because this isn't Sente. Black really has two options here. Option one is just block white from coming in, or if black wants to get really aggressive, black could do something like this. But playing a move like this, you better be real confident that you can kill that stone. If white gets out here, it's going to be pretty bad. But black is very strong here, so black could consider a move like this, especially since black's behind on this board. That's the time when you want to play moves like this. Go big or go home, right? Try to get back into it. But yeah, playing this unfortunately wasn't Sente. We got a little greedy here. I think the more structured move would have just been to play here. This is much safer. There's no reason to overly punish here and to push in. I think playing K5 would have been fine enough. So that's a fine response. This is a fine enough response as well. And then black Tanukis, and this is a good Tanuki. I think this is fine. Black could have considered taking this. I mentioned in the game that after this Joseki, that this is a very interesting point for both players. helps white develop more, helps black develop more. So it's a pretty big move. So white could have considered this, but this is a perfectly fine move. The only criticism I have is it's another third line stone here, but with white having fourth line stones, I think this is fine. I don't know what else black would really get on the top here. So we play this, and then play here. I think now would probably be the time to either play f15 or c12. c12 is nice because it really pressures these three stones, and it would probably elicit a response, and then maybe black could play something like this, or maybe now black takes this move. This is just a little, it pressures the group, but this group was fine anyway. And then black coming back here, this was very much not necessary. This was, completely gote, and I think black could have done something, even if it was just this, right? Which wouldn't necessarily be great, but it at least grows the potential here. This just kind of slinks back and gives white Sente yet again. And so again, since we went into this game, really focusing on, is this Sente? Can we Tanuki? That's really where we got our big advantage this game, is really looking for those moments for when we could play away. So yeah, black responds, which seems fine. This, it's a small mistake. I don't think it's worth diving into too much. All this seems reasonable. But yeah, here, like at this point, the game already feels over, right? Because white's side is just so big. White's got a pretty big corner here. Black has this and the top, but the top is probably about the same size as the corner. And this is probably about the same size of what our side is. So then it's what territory is bigger, this area here or the side, and obviously the side is much larger. So yeah, so unfortunately at this point, like the game already feels out of control, and that's mainly because we were hyper focused on can we play away here, can we take the big points, and we were able to do that 3 or 4 times, and we were able to get ahead. With that said, there is something I want to show at the end here. We didn't get to see it in the game because I skipped it. Oh, we jumped right to it. It's this move. This is something that I see a lot, and it's really important to know how to respond to this. When there's this cut here, we need to be extra mindful to not play this high, because the problem is it gives white the opportunity. It doesn't always work. It can turn into a ko, but white gets this double Atari, and so black captures. White gets this Atari, and the only way black can resist it is by doing this, and then it turns into a ko. But this is a really ugly ko. Black doesn't want this ko, and white doesn't mind losing this ko. And so black needs to be extra careful here, especially with this stone being here. Black can just extend. It doesn't even end in Sente for white, unless white stops here. White could stop here. It does end in Sente. But either way, black cannot play this because that invites this ko, and this is not a ko that black wants to be involved with at all. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, where we really hyper-focused on, is this Sente? So anyway, thank you guys for coming out for another Ride and Struggle Bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. Have a good one, guys.